Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon and today we're making a pretty ballerina themed cake and cupcakes to go with it. To make this cake you will need to make up 1.5 times the sponge cake recipe, and the recipe details are on my howtocookthat.net website, and the video on how to make the sponge cake is there, and I'll link to all of that below. And bake that in 12 cupcake cases and 2 8-inch round cake tins. Once the cakes are cooled, level them and then cut out the pieces shown on the template. Now I'm making this cake to serve 20. If you want it bigger, just scale it up and use a bigger round cake tin or make more cupcakes. For the cupcakes, roll out some white fondant and then cut out heart shapes. Now you can either use a heart cutter or you can just use a knife and trace around a heart shape. Place each one over a cardboard roll that's covered with some non-stick baking paper so that it curves around like the bodice of a dress. These will take a couple of days to harden and dry out, so you can make them ahead of time, or if you're out of time you can add Tylose powder to them and the fondant will dry out quicker. Do the same with some pink fondant so that you have the 2 different coloured dresses. Take a cake board and place a wooden skewer through the centre and add some frosting to the base of the board. This just keeps the cake from slipping around. Then add your first layer of cake, and we've made this layer in 2 halves so that we could cut it all out of the 2 round cakes without wasting too much excess cake. Top that with more frosting, and I'm just using my basic vanilla buttercream recipe, and that's on the website for you too. Then add your next layer of cake. And now the cake gets fatter here, so we want to add some support on those skinny levels so that it will balance on top. So measure how tall the cake is and cut 3 cake pop sticks to size and poke them into the cake. They'll just hold the cake board up. Add some frosting and then place the cake board on top. More frosting on that and then the next layer of cake. Then we want more frosting and continue to add the next 2 layers of cake on top. Now hold your template in front of the cake and lining it up with the shoulders, just trim around the template, down the side and across the top of the shoulders on both sides. Then just use your knife to shave off a tiny bit at the corners of the cuts you've just made, just to make it smooth and round like the waist of a ballerina. Now add some frosting to the top and place a cupcake that you've cut the top off and put it upside down for the neck. And now you want to cover the whole thing in frosting so that there is no cake visible. Then use a piece of acetate to smooth it up and around all of those curves, and then place that in the fridge for about an hour. Warm the chocolate buttercream and then place a teaspoonful on top of each cupcake. Then, using a piping tip like this, start at the centre and pipe out to the edge and back in. Turn, out, in, turn, and keep doing that the whole way around the cupcake, out and in, to make the ballerina skirts. Take the cake out of the fridge and then add some fondant over the top, smoothing it down with your hands. And we're going to have the dress over the top of this, so the fondant doesn't need to come all the way down to the cake board, just over the top part of it. And this is like the mannequins that the dresses sit on in the shops, so you can make this part any colour you want. Just make sure it's different enough from your dress colour so you have a bit of contrast. That's why I've made this quite pale. Roll out some fondant for your dress and cut around the top following the line of the template, and when you get to the edge just let your knife go straight across so that we have some for the back of the dress that we can wrap around. Slightly dampen the back of that fondant and then place it into place on the front of the cake. Position the top where you want it and then just wrap around the rest around to the back. At the back, squeeze it together at the join and then use scissors to trim it off, and using the scissors just helps to pinch it together. Grab a ball of fondant and then just rub it gently to smooth out any imperfections or any spots where you've bumped it as you were putting it on. Roll some fondant so it's very, very thin and then gently make ruffles and add them down the side. I found using a cake pop stick really helped with this because it's just the right size for making those ruffles and also for pushing it so that it attaches to the cake. Then cut a strip of white and add it down over the join of the ruffle just to neaten that up on both sides. Then add more strips, crisscrossing across the front like laces. Place the cake on top of your cake stand and roll out some white again very thin and add it around the base of the cake so it completely covers the cake board and comes to the edge of your cake stand. Once you have the first layer in place, add a thinner strip, it doesn't need to go all the way to the cake, and place them around the edge, just ruffling them as you go. So this is probably about 1 inch thick, so we're not going all the way back so that we use less fondant. Once you're happy with the amount of layers of ruffles that you have, add another strip of fondant over the top, and this one does need to come all the way through to the body so it makes it look like it's a full skirt. For the cupcakes, use some of the royal icing and pipe dots along the top of the heart. Then pipe 2 lines coming down and then another line crisscrossing across the body so it matches the laces that are on the cake. For some variety, you might also like to pipe some that are different using swirls, and you can just have fun with this and make it however you want. I suggest you try and make them symmetrical so it looks like they're supposed to be like that. If you like, you can also pipe some details along the top of the dress there just to make it look pretty and also to bring it all together so it matches the cupcakes. Add the hearts into the top of your cupcakes to make the mini ballerina dresses, and then add them into place on the cake stand, and it's party time. Subscribe to How to Cook That for more crazy sweet creations. Click here for more cake ideas, here for the recipe, and here for more macarons and sweet snacks. This cake was requested by Dancers Dream Big, It's Paps, Craft-O-Matic, Rachel Delasay, Lolita Nurak, Ruby-Doo123, Mackenzie Sandstrom, J-Do Lovely, Brianna Chavez, Charlotte Black Magic, Carly Einstein, and more. Put all your requests in the comments below. Make it a great week, and I'll see you on Friday.